All right, hope you had a good break. Everyone got your next cup of coffee? So here's the document that's called It's Federal Law. And as you see, it says you have to give people the vaccine information sheet. And we have some samples in which to show you. It tells you what you need to do. It tells you what documentation pieces that you need. Again, it changes on a yearly basis. Make sure you know you have the latest one. www.cdc.gov/vaccines. This information will be available to you either on Noodle or from the Bureau of EMS. Read these things. You're going to be the frontline people sitting there, so you need to know this. Here are the two questionnaires that you need to do. One's for adult, and the other one is the Do I Need Any Vaccinations Today? In actuality, these things are probably going to happen before they get to you. Depending on how the clinic is set up, if it's a huge clinic, you may be tasked with being the one sitting at the table, handing these forms out to people, and collecting the forms back or answering questions about these forms. You should look at these forms, download them, before you present yourself as being ready to be helping at the clinic. It is your responsibility to be familiar with this, to look at this, find out what is my role going to be at this immunization clinic. So here's what you're going to hand to people, and they may have questions for you, depending again on the nature of the clinic that's happening. Here's the vaccine information sheet. What you need to do, this is the pneumonia one, this is the flu one. So these are the two that you're going to be using as a paramedic. Again, we're not going to be talking about MMR or any of the other childhood immunizations. These are the ones that people are going to be given to them to read. And if you notice, it has dates on them. So you want to make sure that the clinic is giving out the proper ones. Now, probably you're not the one running the clinic, but you should just be attentive to the fact that this is the current information. When the people arrive at your table, because maybe that's your job, is to do the actual immunizations, you want to ask them, did you receive your vaccine information sheet? What sheets did you get? You don't have to ask them, do you want to go over it? Because honestly and truly, in these clinics, things are designed to move quickly. But you should be aware people should have this before they sit down to get their vaccine. This is a form about handling and storage. Honestly, for the most part, that's not going to be your responsibility unless you're working closely with an agency that's putting together a local clinic, and maybe you're on the board, the planning board. And in that case, you do need to be aware of this and make sure that the vaccine is procured correctly and stored correctly. It needs to be kept in a controlled, cool temperature. I know when I've done clinics in the past, we've come with the nice little soft pack coolies and the ice packs in the bottom, and our vaccines are kept in that and taken out bottle at a time as we've gone down the line giving vaccines to people. So again, if you're going to be part of the organizing committee, you need to be aware of this and make sure that this information is followed. All right, enough of the paperwork for now. Let's kind of get back to the clinic. We'll talk just a little bit about an IM injection. You see here, obtain consent. We all know about that. You are here to receive a vaccine today. You are here for the flu vaccine, the pneumonia vaccine. Verify that's what you're doing. Make sure they understand that it is a shot. Gloves, BSI. You don't need a mask to be doing this, but you should have gloves on, because oftentimes when you give an IM injection, there's a little bit of blood leaking while you put the little bandage on and the Band-Aid on. Sharps container right nearby. Depending on what your role is. If your role is a paper collector, you may not need to have gloves on. I don't think I would if I was the paper collector. You might want to have a mask handy next to you, because people come to the flu clinic thinking, I'm going to get the flu shot. They've already got the flu. Be prepared to protect yourself. Adverse reactions, rare. Anaphylactic reactions are rare, but it is imperative that your flu clinic setup has a kit or 2, depending on how big the setup is going to be, to take care of an anaphylactic reaction. Benadryl, epinephrine, syringes to administer it, etc., etc. Now, honestly and truly, you're not going to have that at each and every table. You're not going to have an Annie kit at each and every table. But if you're the one giving injections, you should make it. You should behoove yourself to know where is that Annie kit, because if somebody is going to have an anaphylactic reaction while they're still sitting there with you, or as in the case of just about all clinics, people who receive the vaccine need to spend 10 to 15 minutes before they're released from the site. If you're overseeing that site, you should know where that anaphylactic information is, where it's kept, and is everything there so that you can just grab a little bag and bingo, ready to go. Again, talking about IM injections, you clean the site, pinch, not pinch the skin, spread the skin out. Some people have been taught after they inject the needle to draw back a little bit, make sure they didn't get into a small blood vessel. Some people haven't been taught that. Best practice is to do that just to make sure it does happen. I've been on the receiving end of giving a shot and pulling back and going, oh, that's not right. Let me try that over again. Recommended practice, do what you've been taught to do. Again, 90-degree angle. This is not your 45-degree angle. This is not pinch the skin, go here. It's flatten it out and target, bingo, perpendicular. Nice little bandage afterwards. There it is, 90-degree angle. Make sure you get to the muscle. Again, look at your body type. I'll tell you, the worst feeling in the world is to go in that deltoid muscle and know that the humeral head is right there. Not so good. Notice very nicely, Sharps container, right handy to put that in. Good technique, gloves are on. That's Dr. Sabato. They're grinning in the background. Remember in the beginning I talked about how he was the one who initiated this? Good technique here, drawing back on the syringe. I like it. Some contraindications or particular cautions, people who have bleeding disorders, doesn't mean they can't get the flu vaccine. People who are on blood thinners, Coumadin, Plavix, who take aspirin every day, who say to you, I tend to bruise easily, I'm on Coumadin, I'm on a blood thinner. This does not preclude them from getting a flu vaccine, but it might make you a little bit aware that they might have a little bit more seepage than someone else who's not. But things to talk about. It may be on one of the screening questionnaires. Latex allergies, there shouldn't be any latex at these clinics. We've really moved forward to making sure that there's no latex involved in healthcare anymore. Make sure that you're the one that they didn't give you a box from the back closet of latex gloves. Out of there, no latex. Limited sites, what might that be? All right, think of a woman who presents whose status post-mastectomy. These women are very adamant there's going to be no blood pressures, no shots, no IVs, no nothing on the side of the mastectomy. Maybe someone has an arm amputation. You need to think about what I have for sites. If that's the case, the lateral thigh is an alternate site. But again, these do not preclude people from getting the vaccine. It's just challenges that you might face.